So if you've just joined me, welcome. This is our first live class, so hopefully it's going to go according to plan. You'll need somewhere nice and available, somewhere to exercise. So we've got lots of space, move your arms and legs around. A mat if you've got one, and a cushion or a pillow or something, just so that you can make yourself nice and comfortable with the exercises. Okay, so we're going to start with our feet about hip distance apart. So you just want to have your feet lined up with your hips. We're going to spread out the toes, and then we're going to have a little lift through the arch of the feet. So what I mean by that is you don't want to sink the feet down into the floor. You want a little bit of a lift. And then I want you to take that length all the way up through the spine, through the back of the neck, and up through the head. And then just let the arms relax by the side. And then from there, we're just going to sway onto one foot and to the other. So we're keeping the feet in contact with the floor, but we're swaying side to side. Imagine you're blowing in the breeze, but you're not bending in the middle. We're nice and strong and tall. Feel the difference between having weight down one side or the other. And then we're going to go forwards and backwards. So we take the weight to the toes and to the heels. This one's slightly harder, and you might feel your core muscle or your glutes kicking in as you go backwards and forwards. Now, if your balance is very good, you can do this with your eyes closed. But if you know your balance isn't great, then don't close the eyes. You're not allowed to fall over. Okay, from here, last one in that sequence, just to warm up the feet, we're going to do a little circle. So we're trying to circle from the feet rather than from the hips. So we take the weight to the heels, to the side, to the front of the foot, to the other side, and circle round. Fantastic. Now you've probably all gone your favourite way, so we're going to go the other way now. So we're going to circle back the other way.
So can you talk a little loud?
Yes, certainly, I will. So you want to just make sure, is that a bit better, that you can just feel that different positions through the feet. And then I want you to come back to rest in the middle. So we've got equal weight now on both feet. We're then going to bring the arms by the side, and we're just going to warm up the arms. So we're going to take a breath in, reach the arms up, breathe out and circle back down. So breath in, lifting through the chest, breath out and come back down. So if you imagine a little piece of string attached to your breastbone, as you come up, that little piece of string is pulling the breastbone up, and you're lengthening up nice and tall. Fantastic. Okay, same movement, opposite way. So we're going to go out to the side this time. Reach up towards the ceiling and then draw back down. Breath in as we come up. Breath out as we circle down. Let's do 2 more of those. And that is my favourite number. I always say 2 more. And then we're going to come down to rest. Fantastic. So let's carry on warming up through the feet. So I'm going to get you to place your hands on your pelvis, and from here we're going to take the weight from the heels and we're going to push up onto the toes, and then we're going to come back down. So we're trying to imagine we've got something balanced on our head, favourite drink, so that you don't spill it, and we're going to come up and down. And as you're doing that, I want you to think about lengthening your tailbone towards the mat, so you're not bending forwards and you're not arching the back, and that way you're going to get those glutes muscles working as you come up and down. So that's level 1. Level 2, we come up and we hold it there as you breathe in, and then you breathe out to come down. So you're just adding a little hold, getting those glutes working, trying to keep that length through the spine, and then back down. Fantastic. Surprise, surprise, let's do 2 more. And again, adding that hold if you want to, you don't have to. Try not to fall over, and then come back down. Lovely. Okay, so we've warmed up the ankles, we've warmed up the arms, let's warm up the thighs. So let's take the feet slightly wider apart, and I want you to think about lining the knees with the middle of the feet. With this one, we want to keep the back nice and lengthened again, so we don't let the tummy drop forward, and we want to take the weight into the heels. So we're going to fold at the hips, we're going to come down, let the knees bend, hold, and then lengthen and come back up. I'm going to show you that from the side. So we're going to take the weight to the heels, fold at the hips, come down, and that length stays there. We don't want to drop the tummy forward or round back. We want to keep that length. Coming back up. come down. Breath in to hold. Breath out to come back. So that's level 1. So we'll keep that going. Now if you have any knee problems, I don't want you to go on to the next level. The next level is little bounces. So we're going to come down, and I want you to imagine, remember those space hoppers that we used to have? So imagine you've got a little space hopper under your bottom, and you're just gently bouncing on it, or one of those big gym balls. So the weight's into the heels, and it's little tiny bounces. Shouldn't feel any discomfort on the knees. We're going to hold then and stop. Now that's when you'll start to feel it working through those thighs. Let's take a breath in. As you breathe out, let's push through the legs and come back up. Fantastic. So if you want to stick with just going up and down, you can stick with that. If not, if you want to do the bounces, we're just going to do one more set. So think about weight into those heels. Breathing in, breathing out, and then I want you to stop and hold. Okay, weight into those heels again. You should start to feel that working through the thighs. I am, so I hope you are. And then from there, breath out, let's come back up. Fantastic. Let's walk in and have a little walk out. Okay, so last one for the legs to warm up. We're going to combine those two exercises, not the bounces though. So you can either alternate or you can do them together. So we'll all start with alternating. Hands on the pelvis. We're going to do a little knee bend, weight into the heels. We're going to come up and then onto the toes. Heels down, little knee bend, up and onto the toes. Okay, so you can keep that going, or this time if you want to work a little bit harder, we keep the knees bent as we lift the heels, lengthen, oh I've nearly gone, and then come back down. So we bend, heels, this is the hard bit, lengthening up and back down. So if I show you that again from the side, as you push up, you want to keep nice and tall here. What you don't want to do is let the back arch. Okay, so we come down, heels, lengthen and lower. Should we do one more? Down, heels, lengthen and lower. Fantastic. Have a little walk out on the spot. Lovely. So from here, we are going to come down onto the mat in a second, but I just want to give our waist a little bit of a stretch first. So if we go back to about hip distance apart with the feet, and I just want you to soften the knee. So what I mean by that is just a little knee bend, okay? And that just takes the weight and fixes the pelvis a little bit. And then I want you to take a breath in as you reach up. Reach to the ceiling and then reach over into a little stretch. And this is where you should feel it. And then come back down. Same to the other side. We'll worry about the breathing in a minute. So we're going to do a little stretch. Fantastic. Okay, so if you breathe in as you come up, and then breathe out as you go into that stretch, then you'll get a nice length through the side, and then you can come back down. A little breath in as you come back up. Breath out as you go into the stretch, and down. We're going to do one more to each side, and I really want you to think about, rather than bending too much, it's that stretching up and over to give you that lovely stretch through the waist, but without forcing anything. Fantastic. How's everyone doing? Everyone okay? You probably can't answer if you're exercising, but I'll ask anyway. And then come back up and little shoulder circles. Fantastic. So we should be a little bit warmer now. So we're going to come down onto the mat and have a go on our hands and knees. Okay, so if you come to one end of your mat, just let the knees bend and then come down onto all fours. Just give everyone time just to get down onto the floor. Okay, so we want to think about having our hands about shoulder width apart and underneath the shoulders. And it's important that we don't lock out the elbows. We want a little bit of give so that we're not tensing. We want our knees under our hips, and we want a nice length through the spine. So if you imagine you're a table, and the best tables are level. So we're nice and level through the spine, and we're going to tuck the chin in and look between the hands. Last thing to think about are our shoulder blade positions. So rather than letting the shoulder blades come around and arching back, we want to draw the shoulder blades gently in towards the spine, and that's our starting position. And from here, we're going to try and keep nice and still through the spine as we take one arm up and then lengthen it back down. So we're going to breathe out, changing arms, coming forwards and coming back. Now, what we want to watch is that as we're doing that, we don't lift the shoulder towards the ear. So we want to keep that control through the shoulder blades, chin tucked under, and only go as far as you can control. So if you feel you get to there and you have to do that, just don't go that far. Everything else stays nice and still. Breathing out. Let's just do one more to each side. And then back. It is a little bit of a killer on the wrist. If anyone does find it uncomfortable on the wrist, you can come onto your fist, as long as you keep your thumb out. So imagine your thumb in a lift, and keep your wrists nice and straight so you don't put any tension on them. Okay? From here, we're going to do the same with our legs. So from here, just making sure we're in a good position. Find that neutral position. We're going to take one leg back and then come in. So this is our sort of level 1 exercises. Now what we're looking for with the legs is that we don't twist the pelvis, we don't lean, we don't let the tummy drop. We're just trying to keep that control. And imagine your tailbone points towards the wall behind you. So as you're doing this exercise, it doesn't flick towards the ceiling and it doesn't curl towards the floor. Okay? It's a funny position to be in, this one, but it's really good for your arm strength. Let's do one more to each side. Fantastic. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you a slightly harder version. So if you want to stick to this level, if you do one arm, then the other arm, then the other leg, then the other leg, if that makes any sense, you're going to alternate. If you want to go on to the harder level, then it's opposite arm to opposite leg. Don't try and do the same arm and same leg on the same side because you'll fall over. Okay, so we want to start with a nice wide base, find that neutral spine so we're nice and level, tailbone points to the wall behind, and then we take opposite arm to opposite leg, and then we come back down. Breathing out, breathing in. Now you shouldn't feel this on your back at all. If it doesn't feel right, then please drop down to the level we were doing before. But you can feel how that works you a lot harder through the tummy, and you've got to stabilise as well through the spine. Last one. And down. I'm going to get you all now to come back into a little shelf stretch. If you sit back onto your heels, let your arms come forward and just stretch out. If you can't do that because it's not comfortable, then you could just do a little stretch to the ceiling instead. Everyone still okay? Perfect. So we're going to do a little bit of mobility in the upper back, and then we'll come and have a lie down on our side. So just for a couple of minutes, if your wrists are hurting, you can give them a little wiggle. We're just going to come back onto our hands and knees. Little rock of the pelvis to find that neutral position. And then we're going to think about tailbone pointing back to the wall, shoulder blades drawing towards the spine. And then the hand, well, I'd say the hand nearest me, but we'll just do one hand. We're going to rotate underneath the other arm. Let that elbow supporting bend and do a little twist through the spine. And then we come back. So other hand comes underneath, this supporting arm bends slightly, and we rotate, so if you're going to shake hands with someone. And then we come back. Your pelvis and your lower back stay level, okay, so they're not twisting. So we're breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Now the most important thing, or one of the most important things, is that you don't round the upper back, so you don't want to be coming up. You want to keep nice and level, and that way you're going to feel more of a stretch. It's funny, I can see you this way and then I can't the other way. Let's go for one more to each side. Fantastic. So that's a nice way to work those arms. We're going to sit back into our shell again. Breath in. And then I'm going to get you just slide yourself up into sitting. Now just give those wrists a little wiggle, get a little bit of circulation going back to them. And then we're going to come onto our side. So, on your side you are going to need a cushion, so you'll need something to support your head. So, if I get you to come down, And you've got a couple of options. You can have your arm out straight and pop the cushion right up into the neck. Now I'm going to move down the mat a bit. So personally, I don't find that very comfortable. So you could bend the arm. The most important thing is you've got this length through the neck and you don't feel that your head is dropping down. So whatever position you can get into that's comfy, that's fine. And then we want to lie on our side. So we want length through the front and length through the back. So our tailbone again points towards the opposite wall. And our knees are bent, so our heels are lined up with our sort of our sitting bones or our bottom. And again, just get nice and comfortable. From here, I want you to think about the distance between your ribs and your pelvis. So if I just sort of drop down, can you see how that sort of curves me a bit there? I'm going to try and move my hips so that they move away. And that lengthens a little bit and gives you a little bit of air here. And that just means that you're not going to use your back, okay? So from here, I'm going to get you to pop your hand in front, drop that shoulder away from the ear. Keeping the feet together, we're going to open the knees. So this is our clam. And again, this is level 1. So we're going to breathe out, breathe in. Now I want you to imagine that you're balanced on a plank of wood, and if you roll back, you're going to roll off. So you want to keep balanced on your side, not twisting the hips. Another thing to concentrate the mind is imagine your favourite drink here, because you wouldn't want to spill it. So we want to keep that nice and still. And where you should feel this working is here, sort of just behind your hip. Breath out, breath in. So this is level 1, keep that going, and if you get tired then stop, okay? Level 2, we're going to lift the feet slightly off the floor, but make sure that doesn't roll you forward, and it's the same exercise. Now sometimes people find this a little bit easier because it's giving you more range to move the muscle in, but not always, so don't worry. You will start to feel that working around your hip, hopefully. I know you can't answer me, so don't worry. Fantastic. And then we're going to come down and rest. Bring that leg in front, just give it a little stretch. And then from here, we're going to keep the underneath leg bent, and we're going to take the top leg out. Now I want you to think about your foot level with your hips, so it's not dropping to the floor. And again, that length all the way from the ribs to your ankles, okay? So we're reaching that leg down and away. And then we're going to do our lift and lower. Breath out, breath in. Now this works similar muscles, so you might feel it in a similar place, but it also works a little bit further round. And the idea with this is, again, we don't roll forward, we don't roll back. Breath out, breath in. If you want a bit more of a challenge, lengthen that underneath leg, because then you've got a balance on your side as well. So lengthen and come back. So this is our level 2. Keeping that balance. You should feel the tummy working a little bit harder, a little bit more to keep the control of you on your side. And you should hopefully start to be feeling that through that leg. Try and relax the upper body. Let's do one more. And then back down. I'm going to get you to bend the knees, bring that front leg just gently in front again for a little stretch. And then what one side does, we have to do on the other side, otherwise we'll be wonky, and nobody wants to be wonky. So I'm going to swap ends of the mat, and I suppose you need to too, otherwise you won't be able to see me. So move your cushion to the other end, and we should do exactly the same on our other side. So again, we want to balance on our side. Hips stacked, shoulders stacked. We've got that length at the front, that length at the back, and our tailbone points towards the opposite wall. Our knees are bent in front and our heels are lined up with our sitting bones. Top shoulder resting away. Think of that length through the waist. There's a little bit of air under here, and then we go for our clam. So again, we're breathing out to lift, breathing in to lower. And we're watching that we're not rolling back. So remember that drink balancing on your top hip, so you're not spilling it as you come up and down. So this again is our level 1. And at any point, if you get tired or the movement doesn't feel as smooth, you're much better to stop, because you'll start to get other muscles coming in and joining in that we might not necessarily want. Level 2, if you want to, is lifting the feet, and we come up. Again, watch that that doesn't roll you forward. We want to keep that balance on our side. Hopefully you can all still hear me. We still going all right, Ali?
We are.
Good, good. Fantastic. So you should be feeling this around the outside of the hip. Couple more if you can. You are allowed to stop. And then we're going to come down. That top leg, bring in front again, and just give it a little stretch out. Fantastic. So, keeping the underneath leg bent, we're going to take the top leg out straight, and think about that length from your ribs all the way down your leg to your ankle. Keeping balance on your side, we're going to lift and lower. My leg may well have disappeared, but you get the general idea. Is my leg still on?
No, you're all right. We can see you.
That's all right. You get the idea anyway. So this is level 1. We're keeping that length, keeping balance on our side. Level 2, the underneath leg comes down, and it's a little bit harder to balance. So you want to make sure you're not rocking backwards and forwards, and you're doing exactly the same. And if you're anything like me, you may have a more wobbly side. I am definitely more wobbly on this side than on the other side. We're just trying to keep that control. You should feel those tummy muscles working to try and stabilise you. Couple more if you can. And then from there, bend the knees back up, take that leg and give it a little stretch. Fantastic. Okay, from here, we're going to come over onto our back. And we're going to stretch out our hips first because we've worked them quite hard. So if you roll onto your back, get yourself nice and comfortable, get a cushion under your head, just make sure you feel nice and supported with your pillow. Let the arms relax down by the side, and we've got feet now about hip distance apart. So we've got heels lined up with our bottom, knees lined up with our hips. Little rock of the pelvis backwards and forwards. So just feel how your back can roll into the mat and your tailbone come up. And then you can rock the other way and your back arches a little bit. Just feel the different positions. And then I want you to come to rest so that you're level. So you're not pushing in, but you're not arching away. So you just want to find that position. If you place your hands on your tummy, it should be nice and level. Then I want you all to take a nice deep breath in. As you breathe out, just allow the ribs to just soften into the mat. And again, nice deep breath in. Breath out. Fantastic. And then take that length all the way through the spine. Imagine it's lengthening out through the top of the head. And then we're going to stretch our hips. So from here, we're going to take one leg and place it over the other knee and let the knee come out to the side. Now for some of you, you'll already feel a stretch sort of in the outside of your hip. So if you do, just hold it there. If not, you could bring the heel of the other bottom a bit closer, or supporting your legs, you could lift that leg off the floor. But you want to keep that length through the spine, okay? So you're not sort of curling everything up, and you should feel it here. Be very careful if you have any hip problems not to overstretch. Lovely. Well done. Let's come back down. Let's do the same on the other side. And again, don't worry if you're tighter on one side compared to the other. Just go within your own range. Just till you feel that comfortable stretch. Breathing nice and gently. And then down. Let's bring our knees and feet together now as if they're super glued, and just bring your arms just out to the side. And we're going to do our hip twist. This is a lovely way just to stretch out through the waist and through the lower back. So we're going to start off by rolling the knees away from me, stacking the feet. Not quite sure if I've got enough room here, we'll soon find out. That's it. And getting that nice stretch through the spine. So your shoulder blades are your anchor points to the mat. They stay on, you don't arch up. And then you're going to peel yourself back into the mat. And again, so we're going to peel the other way. Think of knees leading, then the hips, then the waist. Shoulder blades stay down. And again, only go as far as you feel comfortable. And then peeling yourself back in. So let's think about breathing. Let's breathe in before we start. Let's breathe out to come across. Let's breathe into hold if that's comfortable. And then breathe out. And almost imagine the ribs lead the movement back, then the waist, then the pelvis, then the knees. Same to the other side. So it's a breath out to come across. Breath in to hold. Breath out to peel yourself back into the mat. Let's do that once more to each side. So we're going to come over. This time, if you want to, you could turn the head the opposite way, as long as that doesn't pull on the neck. And then rotate back to that middle position, making sure the back has an arch. Let's go the opposite way. And then peel yourself back to centre. Fantastic. Well done, ladies. From here, let's draw one leg into the chest, take the other leg in, and just give yourself a little hug. And then take one leg down, other leg down, let's slide them along the mat. Let's take the arms over the head, and let's just take a nice deep breath in. And out. Let's bring the arms back, bring the feet back to hip distance apart. Let's just check that position. And I just want you to finish with a couple of nice deep breaths before we do a little bit of a cool down. So just think about your breathing coming from your lower ribs so that you're not moving too much from up here. So you can place the hands there if that helps. And just take a nice deep breath in. Feel how the ribs expand with your breath in and how they relax with your breath out. And again. And out. Now go back to your normal breathing now, because you don't want to do too many because you get lightheaded. But just feel the ribs gently moving. And just think about letting go of any tension with that breath out. Fantastic. Okay, from here I'm going to get you to roll onto your side and then come up into sitting. And then just take your time when you're getting up off the floor, because obviously we've been rolling around all over the place, so don't want to feel lightheaded. But when you feel ready, we're going to come back slowly up into standing. So you can come onto the hands and knees if you want to, roll back onto the heels and push yourself up. But you can get up any way you like. Well done, we are nearly finished. I just want to do a few exercises just to cool down. So if you're coming back into standing, we want feet hip distance apart. We want to be nice and tall through the spine again with our tailbone lengthening towards the mat. Oh, don't know what that was outside. So we're just going to just gently have a little walk out. If you want to get the arms going, you can. Try and keep the hips in, so we don't want wiggly hips. We want to keep nice, still hips and let the knees and the legs do all the work. And then we're going to come back down. From here, we're going to take a breath in again and reach up to the ceiling, stretching through the breastbone, and then circle down. And again, breath in. And breath out. Let's do one more. Breath in, reach and stretch. And back down. Now we're going to stretch out our thighs. So if you need to hold on to something, please do. And I want you to think about keeping your tailbone pointing towards the floor. So we're going to take the weight onto one leg, bring one leg up behind, and just give a little stretch. If you can't do that, you could just do a little knee bend, but do hold on if you need to. And again, keep that length through the spine. And let's do the same on the other side. I'm going to fix on the camera so I don't fall over. Again, keep that length through the spine, shouldn't have said that. And then come back down. Fantastic, little walk out. Last thing then, let's stretch those arms. So we're going to take the feet at distance apart. We're going to bring one arm across. Other arm is going to come and hook under. It's a bit like tying yourself in a knot. And then drop that shoulder to get that nice stretch through the back of the arm. And just breathing gently. And then same to the other side. So we're going to drop that shoulder and just bring that arm across. Again, we're just gently pulling in with that other arm. And then down. And then ladies, we're going to finish by thinking about that sense of length through the spine. See if you can grow that a little bit taller, that little bit wider through those collarbones. And then we're just going to take a breath in as the shoulders come up Breath out as we come down. Breath in. Get rid of any tension around the neck and the shoulders. Let's do one more. And then relax. And then ladies, I want you to finish with a nice deep breath in. And out. And then I'm going to give you a little clap, so well done. Woo! So we both survived that, so that's fantastic. So that was our first Facebook Live class. I hope you enjoyed it. I tried to keep it a little bit mixed ability so that everybody could sort of join in with that. So if you're still there, if you want to give me a wave or say hi or anything, then please pop a comment on that, would be fantastic. We probably will do some more Facebook Lives as well, so if you would like that, then please do let us know. Just drop a comment on and sort of things that you'd like to work on. So thank you so much for joining me. I don't know if there's any comments or anything, Ali, that I need to...
Not as yet.
Not as yet, everyone's just chilling out and stretching. Okay, well thank you so much for joining me. If you do put any comments on, then obviously I can reply after the session, but I look forward to seeing you all again soon.